So is the 2020 Intel-based 13-inch MacBook Pro, just the base model, 8 gigs of RAM, is it any good with just 1080p video editing? We're going to find out. All right, so if you watch some of my older videos, you know I've done a couple different videos on this exact unit. This is the Intel, it's just the Intel 2020 13-inch base model, 8 gigs of RAM, i5, the base model. And I did 4K editing on this. Go ahead and I'll put that link in the description. Check out how this did on 4K editing. But most people out there, and this is the majority of people, they only do 1080p for YouTube. If you're like me and you have a YouTube channel, I do 4K. I don't really need to. I don't know why I'm doing it. but it looks really good, obviously, in 1080p as well. So most people are going to do 1080p editing on this. And the one video I haven't made yet is like, how good is this? I mean, how quick is it on a 1080p video that you're going to edit? So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to show you, a lengthy video that I'm going to edit. I'm going to kind of just go quickly through it and show you exactly what I'm editing, just so you kind of have an idea of the complexity of the edit. And then I'm going to show you how quickly it can render a 1080p video. I'm going to use iMovie, so I'm going to use optimized software for this unit. I'm not going to use, even though this is still really good with the, Adobe Premiere, probably better than the M1. But I'm going to use something that's going to be, obviously made for this. So we'll go through it really quickly. And the video will be kind of, like I said, just one of the videos I like to make that are kind of off the beaten trail. A lot of people want to see real world results on this kind of stuff. And if you're going to go out and buy this right now, the Intel based, and you want to know, you can get a really good deal on it, maybe $800 or $900 even. Find out if this is good for what you need. If you're a YouTube editor like I am, and you just want to make basic YouTube videos, you're going to find out what this is all about. All right, so what I'm going to do is make a 10-minute video in 1080p just to show you how fast it takes to render that. And I want to go ahead and just show you my files. So what I'm actually using before I do that, I use actually a Panasonic G7, and you can see it right here. This is the camera I'm using. And I actually record at a 1080p on this, sometimes 4K. But for this video, I just want to show you. These are the video files I'm going to be using. And just to prove it, I'm just going to go ahead and click on one, right-click on it, and then click Get Info. And then you guys can see over here, it's 1920 by 1080. It's AAC H.264. You can see all the codec and stuff right here. So I just want to show you it's MPEG-4. So you can, obviously the file matters and how fast this is going to render. So I just want to show people what this is before I do this. So let's get into it and let's start rendering, and we'll show you what it's all about. All right, so before I actually get started, I just want to make perfectly clear that what system I'm actually using. I'm using the mid-2020 MacBook Pro 13-inch, and it's going to be the base model, the Intel base model, 8 gigs of RAM and an i5. So I moved some of those 1080p files into here, and what I'm going to do is I'll just kind of skip ahead. I'll come back here in a second, but I'm going to make this movie about 10 minutes, and we'll show you, what all the transitions are and how many layers I put in. So I'll come back here in a second, and we'll show you what the movie looks like, and then we'll go ahead and render it. All right, so I'm back. Now, what I did here is, let me just show you what I put together. This is not obviously a real video. I just put them all through everything together really quickly, but this is going to be about what I do for a YouTube video. You can see here there's numerous clips in here. I have dual clips, one actually fading into another one. I have some transitions right here. I split some of the audio out. I have titles in some of the areas. Here's a title here, and I have a couple more coming up soon. But as you can see, I have a couple overlays here as far as the video on top of each other. So this is typically what I would do with most of my YouTube videos. It's not anything rocket science. It's just very simple for me, at least. But I'll show you that I do have a bunch of transitions in here as far as like how they're going to work. See that transition right there? And I have more text. I'm just putting in some dummy text, and then some, video over video again. So basically, if you look at this, it's 10 minutes exactly right there, just to give everyone a baseline. So again, this is 1080p, shot of my Panasonic G7, and we're going to go ahead and see how long it takes this basic 2020 Intel-based, mid-2020 Intel-based 13-inch MacBook Pro to render this using iMovie. And so let's go ahead and get this started. So what I'm going to do, and I'm going to go ahead, I don't want anything really recording that. I'm going to come back because I don't want to affect the render time. So we're just going to go ahead and export file up here. What I'm going to do is just show everyone what I'm going to do here. So this is actually pretty important. Audio and video, 1080p, quality is going to be high, compressed is going to be better quality. That's the important part right there. So that's the way I always do it. You can see the file size, 10 minutes exactly, 1.52 gigabytes. We'll click next. And let's get going, but I'm going to go ahead and stop all my recording so I don't affect the render times, and then I'll come back and show you what it was. All right, so it just finished. I actually closed the bubble up here. So I just finished that. It did not take long at all. The actual finished video, if I go down here, I call the test movie remove later. It's right here. This is the same one that I just created. if you look down here, it's going to be 9-10 minutes long exactly. So everything right there is what it is. And let me go ahead and get out of here. So what was the final result? The final result was 4 minutes and 40 seconds. So to render a 10-minute 1080p video on this computer is 4 minutes and 40 seconds. And that is pretty good if you take a look at that. So I just wanted to kind of let people know real world examples. One last time, 10-minute video, 1080p, 4 minutes and 40 seconds, less than half the time. Really capable system. Just wanted to show a real world result. All right, so as you can see, this is sufficient for almost anybody out there making just basic 1080p YouTube videos. Thing's gonna blow through it. It's gonna be very quick. I did a video on how much money you save. Obviously, if you do hundreds of videos a year and you save a couple minutes here and there. So definitely check that video out. But realistically, if you're just making, let's say the average YouTube person makes, let's just say 100 videos and they're saving 5 minutes, you're gonna save definitely some time and some money for sure. But I mean, if you can pick this up and this is the only thing you have in your budget, a couple $100 cheaper than you could spend, then definitely pick one of these up for 1080p. It's gonna be good for 5-6 years being able to do 1080p. It does 4K really well as well. Check out my video. So I just wanted to kind of do that last video on this as far as the editing and just to show people there's all this hype on the M1 chip, and I'm included saying how good it is and stuff, but at the end of the day, do you really need it? This kind of fires through all that stuff. So check me out. My videos, I do about 4 or 5, sometimes up to 5 a week, but I usually do 3 to 4, maybe somewhere in there. Small channel, just trying to grow it out. If you guys can help me subscribe, talk to you soon. Peace.